What's up, fam? We are live, first live here. Holy smokes, I have been waiting for this. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go check on my phone because if any of you guys hop on live, I might be able to reply to you guys on here. Let's check it out and make sure that we're all set and good to go. We'll go and wait a little bit really quickly. It takes a little bit of time for everything to load up. I want to share a little bit of my vision for this channel before we go on and start creating different pieces of content, things that I've been wanting to talk about and share about. Want to share a little bit with you guys about my vision. Hey, there we go. Now live on your channel. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Let me check it out real quick. Let's make sure we're set, fam. Let's make sure we are set. Let's go. We are set. If you're watching this live, give me a hashtag live in the comment section down below. So again, back to vision. So I want to share a little bit of the vision of what I want to do with specifically this channel. And there's a bit of a story behind it. And there's a lot of things, parts of my story that I will share with you guys as this channel progresses and as we share different pieces of content. I'm going to share different parts of my story, my upbringing, my background. You guys will definitely hear that. But there's one in particular that I want to share with you specifically. I had a buddy of mine. His name is Joshua Baez. I was raised single-parent household in the Bronx, New York. For some of you guys who may be watching this, you know my story, my background. You've been following me for some time on Instagram and Facebook and so on and so forth. And I was raised single-parent household, and there was this a buddy of mine, a young man, maybe about 3 years younger than me. He was like a little brother to me. And I remember I met up at church. We were at a youth group together, and we would, we would always have a really great time. And I remember being around Joshua and hanging around. We would, I'd have him over. Me and my mom would have him over all the time, and we would go on and cook breakfast and all of these different things. We just have like such a really good time. And I remember Joshua began to make a significant transformation. If you have any experience in the Bronx, New York, or urban communities, you understand that it's tough. You understand that you have been shot at, you might be stabbed, you gotta look over your shoulders. If you're from New York, you understand what it's like. It's pretty much the modern Gotham. It's ridiculous, especially with how crazy society is right now and how it's being run. And I remember hearing stories from him and just hearing his life of being around the wrong types of people and going down a wrong path. And I remember his face would shine and he started to change completely, being around him and supporting him and being that big brother to him. Well, when I was 18 years old, I moved to Kansas City. When I moved to Kansas City, me and Joshua, unfortunately, we lost contact. We stayed connected here and now, but not as much. Obviously, when you live in New York City and literally now you live in Kansas City, at that time, you're in a completely different state. And so we didn't have as much interaction as much. I was doing a lot of work with the church. I was literally speaking around the world and so on and so forth, all across America. Probably from the time I was 18 years old all the way till I want to say 23, 24. I started real ministry at like 15, 16, but really actually started traveling when I moved out and went to Kansas City. So we didn't stay in as much contact. And I remember one night I went to Texas and there was this conference that the ministry organization I was part of that they were hosting. And amazing things happened and so many people's lives were changed and all of this stuff. And I remember it was the end of the conference. It was the last day. Everything was done. Everything was finalized. And I go to bed that night. And that night I had a dream. And in the dream, I just heard a loud voice. And that loud voice cried out, "Joshua, Joshua, Joshua," 3 times. And I wake up fully arrested, feeling this voice and feeling like, man, what's God doing? Is God trying to tell me something? Within about 60 to 90 seconds later, my mom calls me. And I pick up the phone. It's about 6 a.m. And lo and behold, she's crying. I have no idea what's going on. Zero. No clue what's going on. And I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And she goes on to say, Joshua was murdered that night. I was completely silent. By the way, just so that you all are aware, I am a father, and you might hear my baby in the background. 5-month-old. So, but Joshua was murdered. And I literally didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how to feel. And not long after, I just started bawling. I lost it. Because this young man truly was like a little brother to me. And unfortunately, during the period of time that we had disconnected, we weren't, again, in as much contact, he started being reintegrated back into the wrong crowds and around the wrong types of people. And unfortunately, life happened. Fast forward, me doing this channel, when I think about the reasons why, and there's a lot of reasons why, there's a lot of things that I've learned in the past. You know, it's been 18 years, when I was 18 years old, 18 years old. So we're talking about, I'm turning 31. We're talking about 13 years almost. I could say that there were, you know, my successes in my business, where the first year in my business, I was able to pay off for my wedding in cash and pay for my wife's car and pay it off. And we made almost 400,000 net profit. I can tell you all of my accolades and my successes, and speaking in front of almost nearly 100,000 people. You know, by the time I was 24, even though I had a stuttering issue when I was younger, being in front of people or being in front of the camera, I'd be extremely afraid. I can tell you a lot of successes. I can tell you the fact that I saw kids who had moms and dads giving them their Beamers in paying, you know, for them when they were 15, 16, when they were finally able to drive, and that I was able to do that in my second year in business, having 2 M4s. I can tell you all of this stuff, success and things that I've been able to overcome, being sexually abused when I was young, and single parent household and fatherlessness. There's a lot of reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I would say Joshua's the number one, or at least one of the top. And the truth is that many of you watching here, you're watching this video right now, and you may be like a Joshua. You may not be exactly like him. You may be a successful CEO who you use your success to hide everything else in your life. I know what that's about. I've done it myself. And again, you'll learn a lot of things throughout this channel, including my failures. You use your successes, you use your accolades as a means to hide the shame that you may feel. And you use your money as a means to overcompensate the insecurity that you have. And you're isolated and you're alone. And some of you almost are exactly like in Joshua's position. You were raised single parent household. You don't have a lot of people around you to support you like I was. You had bad influences in your life. You've had bad influences in your life. You may be watching this and you're in one of those 2 categories. You have extreme success, or you're in rock bottom. At the end of the day, this channel is for you, because the vision that I have, and that Joshua is a huge motivation for, is I'm committed to building the men that build the world. And if you're a man, you have genitals, because real men don't identify as men. They are men because God created us as men. We'll go into that. And yes, I am very controversial, and I want you to be aware of that. But the reality of the fact of the matter is that if you are a man, you literally change the world. And we're here to build the men that build the world. The reality is that 2 men changed society. 2 men changed literally the world, Adam and Jesus. I find it interesting that it was two men. We like to hone in on different reasons, around the scripture and different aspects of the scripture. But I find it very interesting that the fall of man didn't happen when Eve consumed the apple, but it was when Adam stepped out of his authority and his identity and decided to operate against the nature of God. The fact that men have the influence to change the world. And ladies, not to say that you aren't influential doesn't mean that you aren't powerful or any of that, but it is to say that men, you watching this, you have authority over the nations. You have authority over your family. You have authority over society. The decisions you make today literally shape society. The fact that you are almost guaranteed, statistics show that if you don't have a father in your life, the probabilities of you entering into crime, a life of poverty, are exorbitantly high. And while motherlessness, there are data points and things to show the fact that has negative consequences too. It's not as severe. Tells me that men have the authority quite literally to shape the world, societies, and families for good and or for evil. And so at the end of the day, the vision of this channel is to build the men that build the world. I'm going to literally have discussions and conversations with people from various backgrounds. We're talking people who are Eastern Orthodox priests, people who are pastors and leaders, business owners and entrepreneurs, PhDs in psychology and neuroscience and philosophy and history, all for the purpose of defining and establishing a clear vision for masculinity. Because at the end of the day, society is not going to give that to you. Society is wanting to make you weak. Society wants you docile. Society wants to raise a generation of men without a spine. And at the end of the day, the goal of this channel is to come against that, to fortify a resistance against what society is trying to do, what culture is trying to do, and create a new culture, a counterculture, so to speak. And so I'm excited to have you guys here, seriously, and share some of my perspectives, share some of my ideas, invite awesome guests, and have you guys be with us. Again, let me know if whatever topics you want to learn about. Again, I have some experience on the business side and different things, obviously, not having my dad raised. We actually are literally having a relationship now, but quite literally for the first 21, 22 years of my life, not being raised with a father, just different things that I've gone through. Gonna share it with you guys, but obviously let me know in the comment section here, and just message me or show us what exactly you guys want to learn, and what are some of the takeaways that you want to have, and the different themes or different guests. If you have guests and that you would obviously recommend, let me know in the comment section. But I'm so grateful to have you guys. The few that are here, obviously we're so brand new, and obviously as it grows, the more people that are here, just so excited and grateful for you guys. And let's build the men that build the world. And the way we're going to do that is to walk in the ways of the wise. And so catch you guys soon.